Hello, good evening, wherever you're listening from or watching from. This is week 5 of the 13-week fiscal program. Before we get started today, we did make an amendment as a collective. So moving forward, we will no longer be using the term American descendants of slavery, and instead we will be using the term American prisoners of war. And this is
Mm,
based off pretty much what we have been working through the past few weeks in regards to identifying who the actual slave was and who we were on this land. So of course we had our own nations, and again, with nations fighting against nations, you do have some casualties that are prisoners of war, and that is where our group of people are currently at today. So again, moving forward, we will no longer be using that acronym and instead be using American Prisoners of War, or APOW. You have myself, Chief Biko today, also Chief Alligator, Chief Akibalan, as well as Chief Blackcoat. First, starting off with the 12 steps, we'll have Chief Blackcoat read them. Do you need me to share the screen for it?
nah, I got it, brother.
Okay,
All
perfect, perfect.
right. So 13-week practical program of action for each American prisoner of war. Step number 1, learn about the estate or estates your family originated from. Step number 2, who established that estate. Step number 3, what tribe and confederacy had jurisdiction over that area prior to the European. Step number 4, ask all nonprofit organizations you attend what's your position. They either support it or they don't. No support, no money. However, if they support it, then children and adults need weekly classes free of charge about steps 1, 2, and 3. In addition, field trips to American Prison of War landmarks in that city, county, and state are needed. Don't support European holidays for the remainder of the 13-week time frame. Avoid spending money with any small business that doesn't hire your people, gas stations, nail salons, subways, corner stores, etc. All businesses need operating cash, spending money with American businesses. All other groups rely on our energy and operating cash to survive. Set the trends of making other groups follow our lead and support our clubs, services, products, and entertainment. The United States government is bankrupt. The Federal Reserve prints money, i.e., quantitative easing. It is also burning money, i.e., quantitative teething. This US dollar hasn't been backed by gold since Richard Nixon in 1971, the Gold Standard Act. The government operates off the full faith of its citizens to pay off debt and taxes. American prisoners of war no longer have faith in the United States government. This is why financial support will be altered, stopped, and redirected. Step number 11, teach your kids 1 hour a day about the history on this land. Have them learn about an American inventor. Have them know about our heroes. They should know the European that conquered the state you live in. They should know the nation of people prior to the European invasion, militarily and culturally. And the last step, step 12, practicing these steps will educate us on the land we are claiming America and attaches us to the history and laws of the United States government. Every estate American prisoners of war live in should have steps 1, 2, and 3 advertised via social media, radio, and newspaper. This in 13 weeks, one physical quarter will bring us together for our common cause.
Thank you, Chief Blackcoat. Next, we'll have Chief Alligator with the Inventor.
Okay, I'm going to do Granville T. Woods again. Mr. Woods was born to free Americans. He's also known as the American Edison. He was born April 23rd, 1856, Columbus, Ohio. He died January 30th, 1910. Today, we're going to do the steam boiler furnace. He invented this on June 3rd, 1884. Federal patent number is 299894.
Thank you, Chief Alligator. And you'll also be reading the quote for today. So what's the quote you chose for this week?
Okay, you want to share your screen or?
Yeah, I can share my screen. Which quote were you thinking about? That way I can have it pulled up.
It was going to be quote number 5.
All right, let me see here. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It should work. All right. Do I need to zoom in a little bit?
No, you're good.
All right, cool.
Quote number 5 from Dr. Carter G. Woodson, founder of what we know now as Black History Month, which will be starting next week. Quote 5, real education means to inspire people to live more abundantly, to learn to begin with life as they find it and make it better. But the instruction so far given Negroes in colleges and universities has worked to the contrary. In most cases, such graduates have merely increased the number of malcontents who offer no program for changing the undesirable conditions about which they complain. One should rely upon protests only when it is supported by a constructive program. And I chose that because I know you're going to go into the Asian crime bill versus the George Floyd Act, just to show people how everything that happened in 2020 and 2021, there was no constructive program. So nothing changed as far as our group is concerned. But when we compare ourselves to the Asian community, you're going to show how they were able to get a bill in less than 30 days.
Correct. Great quote. Great quote. Just rereading that definitely is in alignment to what we're going to be showing pretty much at the end of this video, with the comparison between the Congressional Black Caucus and the Asian and Pacific Islander Congressional Caucus. So great quote. Next, we'll have myself with the legal definitions as well as the maroon historical points. First, American, native to America. 2, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Number 3, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. 4, prisoner of war, person, usually a soldier who is captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Number 5, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. Number 6, education, an enlightening experience. Now for the maroon historical points, number 1 was a person escaping slavery seeking freedom or breaking the law. Number 2, providing unity and a strong defense came first. Number 3, maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Number 4, Maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks in thick grass. And number 5, Maroons knew their European enemies' language, defenses, and plans. So that was the legal definitions as well as the maroon historical points. And last but not least, we're going to jump into the Constitution. You know, we got to go to our favorite article. If this is Article 1, Section 10. Yeah, Article 1, Section 10. And is it still big enough to read for you all, or should I zoom?
Good.
Okay. So Section 10, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So again, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation. So us knowing in the past videos, we brought it up, us knowing that the American form of government was confederation, they're clearly stating that this United States government will not be entering into any treaties or alliances with said confederation. And also that no individual state or states, so again, the seceding states from the Union, cannot create a confederacy. So understanding that and understanding what we've read in the past weeks in regards to this civil rebellion, because again, Andrew Johnson, the president at the time, stated that this was not a war. They were a pretend confederacy. So understanding that, again, this wasn't a war, that'll bring us up to our next question. Why do we believe that If there wasn't a Civil War, why do we believe that that war was fought to free our people? So just understanding that, keep that in the back of the mind as we continue to work these documents here. The next one we'll go to is Article 6. And it should be here, correct, Article 6. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So this is, again, is stating that the treaties are the supreme law of the land. We just read in that Section 10, Article 1, that no state shall enter into any treaties, alliances, or confederations. Again, us knowing that our people come from confederations, this article is almost contradicting the Section 10, Article 1, because they're basically were contracting. Again, it was the military, but they were contracting with the Confederation, meaning like the Seminole Nation. They were all part underneath the Creek Confederacy. So those treaties in itself, we already know are invalid or void, but just the act of even trying to make that valid goes against this article as well as the Article 1, Section 10. And last but not least, one of the favorites to bring up here is the militia. Let's see, where is that here? It should be at the front, actually. All right, Section 2 here. The president shall be the commander-in-chief of the Army, Navy of the United States, and of the militia of the several states. So again, the president is the commander-in-chief of not only the Army, the Navy, but also the militia of several states. So at any point in time, the president has the power to call upon any of these militia factions in these various different states. So whenever our people protest or are out pretty much raising hell because somebody or another one of us has, fallen victim to police brutality or whatever you want to call it, this is what happens. You're seeing the militia get called upon to pretty much subside any potential rebellion or any potential insurrections. So just understanding that the president has power over the Army, Navy, as well as the militia is important, because that's what we see most of the time during these protests that we've repeatedly been having, and we see no action is actually being done.
Oh, what you got right quick. Go down to that second paragraph in Section 2, where it says, he shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties. So who has the power to make the treaty? The president, not the military.
Great point out. Great point out. Because that's exactly who we were seeing make treaties in the first few treaties we were reading. Moultrie Creek, Payne's Landing. Those are all militaries.
It's like they just took the same thing that we were doing and just did it on a business level.
Correct.
By having their own entity that they were going back to and so
make treaties. So understanding that, Chief Alligator, what we just read in the first paragraph, the president is commander-in-chief of all three of these. So were they acting on behalf of the president?
No, because it says right here, he shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate.
Got you.
To make treaty. So he's got to go through Congress. He's got to go through legislative branch.
Is this when checks and balances became like more prevalent?
Right. There's a structure there, right?
Structure
versus
again.
The Confederates just saying, hey, we're going to write up this treaty Well, not even the Confederates, Roman militaries, waving Confederate flags. That's out of order. What are you talking about? Go through your sin. Wait, why are you talking to me directly? So it was just totally out of order. You can't just go against the.
So is that basically they
Breaking up there, Chief. Keep it on.
Say it again, Chief.
Oh no, that's the way of, I guess, since they were going through the Senate, was that their way of determining if whatever threat they were about to, what am I trying to say? The way that they're making the treaties, was the Senate the way for them to say if it's like reasonable or not, or what was their reasoning? Do we know the reasoning for them doing that?
Just the
My
structure.
question.
Yeah, I would agree with Chief Black Coat. Probably just structure, making sure that everything is in alignment. So it's not just, okay, we want the land, but make sure we're also getting X, Y, and Z with that land. Make sure we're also getting, various different things. So
Accountability and
again,
all
probably
those
just
things.
structure. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And great call out there, Chief. Alligator. And again, that structure, 2/3 vote. We're going to see that occur later on in this video with the comparison between the George Floyd Act and the Asian hate bill. So again, that structure, okay, we'll need a majority vote, various different things, checks and balances. So great call out on that one. So with that, we will be jumping into the Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1865. And just to kind of set the tables, provide context, we've already established that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment had nothing specific in it that would pretty much relate to our group of people. And I'll bring that up just so you all can see again that there's nothing specifically identifying our people. So why are we attaching ourselves to these documents? Amendment 13, Section 1, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment of crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist in the United States or in any subject to their jurisdiction. Do you see anything says Negro, Black, African American, all of these names we've been continuously reclassified as?
I was going to say, it don't even say American. And this is supposed to be the Constitution for the United States of America.
Correct. Nothing specific. We see party. We broke down what a party is or what a party can be, a person, which leads us to Amendment 14. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, subject to this jurisdiction, therefore are now citizens of the United States. Nothing again is specific to our people. So we ask the question again, why do we attach ourselves to not only the 13th Amendment, but the 14th Amendment as well? Nothing in any of these sections is specific except for right here, Indians not taxed. That's the only thing specifying a particular group, and this group would be our family that went west of the Mississippi.
Whoever this government recognizes as Indians, put it like that.
Correct. Correct.
So that goes into your $5 Indians. That goes into, our brothers and sisters across the Mississippi. They're very funny when they do these things. Or when they wrote this up, they were ahead of their times. That's what I
feel like they were just doing another bait and switch, because it sounds good. Like, hey, all right, cool, we're gonna put this stuff in writing for y'all, but we're not gonna be specific. But it's in writing, and they didn't specify who it's for. They just put it out there and said that it was done without showing you like this is specifically for you. Just like before when they were given their version of reparations. And they were saying that they were going to give them a certain amount of money every year, and that never came through. It's like you said you were going to do specific things, but you didn't do those specific things that you said you were going to do.
Great point. Great point. They were very broad in their language with this. And that's for one of two reasons we know now, because now knowing the definition or legal definition of persons pretty much mean anything. Any and everything can be considered a person. So with that, that's how we see the creation of the LGBT community. These immigrants are able to come up underneath this umbrella as well, people of color. So everything is able to come up underneath this term persons, legally, at least. Because again, person can be an individual or a corporation, organization, etc., etc., etc. Let's see here. Again, section 3, no persons.
Go back up to section 2 real quick with the
Okay.
Americans not taxed, or they're using the word Indians not taxed.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, I have to turn that table around and understand that I'm the American because I'm from the land of America. My family is buried in the land of America. And I have to clearly understand that we, the people who created this document, are not Americans. And so they're in alignment with natural law, because they're saying we cannot tax Americans who are a part of another tribe or confederacy or nation, which would be Seminole, Choctaw, Chickasaw, etc. So what Chief Akibalon said is correct. This is the first offer that the European, with its form of government, is offering to us. And it's saying, hey, would you like to come up under our government as a citizen? And here's where our karmic debt comes in as a group of people. Whether we come through under the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, the Freedmen'S Bureau Act, the 1866 Civil Rights Act, or the 1866 Indian Treaty, you're stepping off the land of America and you're stepping into a corporate reality. And so it's kind of like we're bumping our heads. It's like we're putting ourselves in a box and we're wondering why we're not being specifically talked to. It's because we dishonored our bloodline, because our family is Cherokee or Choctaw or Chickasaw, and we're coming into this person and it's not a human. It doesn't have a nationality. It doesn't have a culture. That's why they have to tell the lie and say that there was a civil war. And it just really just shows the power of Hollywood, the power of TV.
Mm-hmm. Propaganda.
And I'll just
and
say,
just the power of perception in general.
right. And I'll just say this to all the chiefs that's on here, especially because we're males. One of the principles that we have to carry out for the rest of our lives is you can't go off what people say. You have to study to show yourself. Because like Chief Akibalon just said, they'll tell you any damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
We've been running around thinking it's a civil war until you read the document and find out you can't say there's a civil war and not say that your president was full of shit then, because your president put in writing it was a rebellion. So if you're going to stand on the fact that it was a war, you're calling Andrew Johnson a liar.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But that just goes back to the American school system. Back to them just telling you whatever. We're going to switch that word rebellion and just call it the Civil War. That train of thought, it kind of confused you. Oh, wait, we had a civil war? I feel accepted. No, y'all was rebelling. Two different things.
Two different things. It puts it in context too. War, rebellion. One seemed like
Civil
a little
War
skirmish.
make it seem like,
yeah,
my bad.
something bigger. It makes it seem something bigger when it's actually just a skirmish of a few peasants.
Yeah, and then a
Angry
lot of times
peasants.
Civil War is based on like two people who are like the natural people of area. Like it'll be a country versus a country, and those countries are themselves and they know their culture and they stand on those beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're rebelling, you're going against something that's not your belief. And that's because there's a foreign entity like taking your real identity and culture. That's a big difference between those two words.
Correct. No, I like the way you broke that down there.
And that's a good call out, because they came from Europe with their own culture. We're not going to get in the weeds about Irish culture or German culture, but what Chief Akibalon said is correct. They came over here with their Irish culture or their German culture, and the United States government is saying, okay, now you're over here under this new form of government. You got to drop your culture too.
Mhm.
And you got to go along with this lie that we're going to reconstruct, which is why you got all of them running around thinking that they're Confederates. Once you arm yourself with the information, then you can have an intellectual war with them and say, well, basically, you're just trying to be me. You can't.
Mhm. Correct. Correct. We'll jump down to 15 to see if that has anything specific to our group of people. And again, nothing's specifying our group of people. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or obliged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous conditions of servitude. The only thing they've mentioned in this one that's different is, again, race and color.
Wait, so if they say previous condition of servitude, are they saying like your right of voting shouldn't be affected if you were like in prison or something like that? Is that what that means? Because I feel like that's what I read.
Yeah, the condition of servitude, all of them, the majority of them came over here under condition of servitude because they was on, I guess they was on loans. I think you said that a couple of weeks ago, Chief of Keebaline, that to be in debt and to be enslaved, it's the same thing because at the end of the day, it's financial. So they came over here on an indentured status. They had to work off the debt.
Correct.
To pay back to their king or queen in Europe. So knowing that it was a rebellion within their own people under their own government, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment was really them trying to clear up what they're going to do for the peasants. What you see what I'm saying? Like once they paid off their debt, it's like, okay.
Right.
It's like,
you're being accepted once you pay off your debts. It's like, we'll accept you now. Like we got what we needed out of you.
You can play the game now up under the American structure. Yeah, like, okay, you paid off your debt. Welcome to the team.
Correct.
And you get protection and resources.
It's like joining a private club.
Right.
So again, clearly nothing stating or specifying our group of people. So we pose the question again, why do we think that these amendments, the 13th to 15th Amendment, apply to us? Clearly nothing here is specifically stating that it does apply to us. So after pretty much breaking that down, we'll jump to the next, what would we say, contract offered to us to join up underneath their government, which would have been the Freedmen'S Bureau Act of 1865. Let me see here. Exit out of here. All right, can everyone see this clearly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll go ahead and start here on the first one. The Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1865, March 3rd, 1865. An act to establish a bureau for the relief of freedmen and refugees. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that there is hereby established in the War Department to continue during the present War of Rebellion and for 1 year thereafter a Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands to which shall be committed as hereinafter provided the supervision and management of all abandoned lands and the control of all subjects relating to refugees and freedmen from rebel states or from any district or of country within the territory embraced in the operations of the Army. So I'll just stop right here. Basically, here is where they're trying to, or what I'm getting from this first few sentences, the first few sentences here, is that they're pretty much just trying to account for not only any like abandoned lands or any abandoned territories, but also making sure that they have something to do or have somewhere to put these new refugees or freedmen from this particular rebellion. So they're just pretty much trying to account for everything to make sure everything it makes sense as far as the numbers, and then we'll decide on where we want to place you all as far as status, I believe. That's what I'm getting from this first little section here.
To continue during the present war rebellion, that's sticking out to me a lot. But I definitely agree with what you just said, Chief Biko, about them pretty much having accountability during this Freedmen's Bureau of the refugees, freedmen, and the lands that have been abandoned.
All right, let's think about this for a minute, because we just talked about this. We know that there was no civil war, right? All right, so let's take this first sentence. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled. Congress makes the laws under their government. Okay, so they're in order at this point, because Congress, anything that comes out of Congress, that's going to be the law under their government.
Correct.
That there is hereby established in the War Department. Now they're fresh off of a civil rebellion. They were fighting amongst themselves, right? So the War Department presenting some documents to Congress about how to deal with the rebellion that just happened. You following me?
Okay.
That's based on the Amnesty document that you read. We know it was a rebellion. So here, right after that rebellion, you get the Freedmen'S Bureau Act. Again, we're looking at it saying, does this apply to us, or does this apply to the Europeans that were rebelling during the Civil Rebellion? Okay. To continue during the present War of Rebellion, that ties right into the Amnesty Act. And for 1 year thereafter, a Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, to which shall be committed as hereinafter provided, the supervision and management of all abandoned lands. Remember, they created a fake Confederacy, and they said that they're succeeding from their government. Right? So now that the rebellion is over with and the United States government is taking control back over those quote unquote succeeded states, they're deeming those people as to be refugees, freedmen, abandoned land. It's not talking about us. Really,
makes sense. Yeah,
there was no civil war. It was a rebellion. So the document has to point back to what really happened. So what we're trying to do while we read this document is, do we see ourselves in this document? Right now, based on what I'm reading, it's referring to those that rebelled within that United States government. Because remember, we're not citizens of it.
correct.
Right.
And then it says, in the control of all subjects relating to refugees and freedmen from rebel states. That's not us.
Correct. They're identifying who these people are. Refugees from where? The states that seceded and created the pretend Confederacy, or the pretend Confederacy.
The rebels.
Yeah.
It's just it threw us off with the freedmen. We thought, hey, we was freedmen. They talking about they indentured servitudes. They're peasants. They're those freedmen. They're not free after they worked off their debt and paid ties to their, government.
Great call out.
Damn, man. History.
Let me see here. I'll pick up back here. Under such rules and regulations as may be prescribed by the head of the Bureau and approved by the President, the said Bureau shall be under the management and control of a commissioner to be appointed by the President by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. So again, that structure, whose compensation shall be $3,000 per annum, and such number of clerks as may be assigned to him by the Secretary of War, not exceeding 1 chief clerk, 2 of the 4th class, 2 of the 3rd class, and 5 of the 1st class. So again, what I pretty much got from this section is structure. So they've identified who they're speaking about, the refugees, freedmen from, again, the rebel states. Now they're saying that the President now has the power to appoint appoint a commissioner, but still has to run that by the Senate. So still has to get it passed, make sure, again, there's checks and balances with this appointment made by the President. And then they're also just identifying pretty much what the Secretary of War is able to have as far as their down chain, their clerks, one chief clerk, two of the fourth class, two of the third, and make sure 5 of the first class. So that's pretty much what I'm getting from this highlighted part.
Anybody else?
I feel the same way. It's just showing the structure of everything.
You on mute, Chief Blackcoat.
My fault. Not just agreeing with Chief Deco and Chief Line. It's definitely just we're pretty much reading how they work, how business gets done, and when it comes to making decisions. And right now we're just reading how the Freedmen Bureau is going to be going, how they're going to run business and account for their freedmen.
Well, let me ask y'all one thing. If you look at where it says he's going to assign a commissioner, the president's going to assign a commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
He tells us how much he's going to get, $3,000 per year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got X number of clerks may be assigned to him. Here's the key though, by the Secretary of War. So you can see their government is pushing this civil rebellion they just went through. They're pushing it through their War Department.
Mm.
And then you can see that you'll have one chief clerk, 2 of the 4th class, 2 of the 3rd class, and 5 of the 1st class. So coming under the War Department, they're going to reclassify those Europeans that come through that Bureau of Refugees. You follow me? They're going to tag them a different kind of way. It's almost like you're going to be penalized because you're not going to come up under, we're going to bring you up under the War Department. So if your name is in that department, then we know that you're a part of the group that actually rebelled. Can you build on that a little bit, Chief Blackcoat? Because it's coming under the War Department.
Right. It kind of just sounds similar to our insurrection last year, January 6th. Not in the, there was a rebellion on their half. So we're kind of seeing this play out as we're reading this Freedmen's Bureau. I'm losing train of thought right now. Hold on. Come back to me. I had something there, but come back to me, please.
Let me see. I think, well, just
The
see
War
if you'll
Department.
catch on this. Yeah, the War Department. So what you was kind of going with there, Chief Blackcoat, we saw the insurrection on January 6th of last year.
Mm.
We saw there weren't any trials, but I find it hard to believe that they don't know who was actually at that place. So
It's a government building.
correct,
Right,
they're
right.
rebellion, but they need to tag these people at a certain class. Okay, we won't punish you in regards to showing the propaganda, but we know who you are. We know where you were January 6th. We know you were one of the many that were there. So we have to make sure we're tagging you with whatever label they want to come up with. And I think that's kind of where I'm kind of seeing here as well. 2 of the 4th class, and that kind of makes me think like, okay, is that where that 1st, 2nd, 3rd class citizen type of ideal comes from? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I think you picked up what I was trying to say for sure. You know, this government having to tag people a certain brand now. You just went against. I brought you over here from Europe. Now you're rebelling against how I want to run business over here. You're no longer going to be considered a United States citizen, whatever they brand them as. Same thing I was going with it as far as January 6th. Of course, they know who those people were. Hell, some of them had already came out. But the fact that it would probably hurt that structure so much, knowing who those people were. Hold on, we're having another rebellion here. You know, so we had to leave that alone. We don't want to have to go back through that War Department and having to actually identify each individual, because now, yeah, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot again as far as this government structure goes, because your citizens just went against you. Now the people on the outside looking in, being us Blacks, Americans, however you want to quote yourself, we're watching this again because we're thinking, oh, we're a part of that government. No, you're not. You're still just outside as they're creating their work plan, as they're creating a master plan to continue going further on your land. But yeah, thank you, Chief Deco, for picking up what I was trying to say. Exactly what I was trying to say.
That was
That's a
perfect
good point.
breakdown. Yeah, that was a great point you just made there. Great point. The citizens are going against them. Our group, we're seeing that we were not supposed to be a part of this whole system. So that's again us trying to attach ourselves to things that aren't even specifically identifying us. So like you stated, they're like, damn, we not trying to go through this again. We done already did it 1865. We gotta shit. Okay.
Oh, multiple times.
Multiple times, you know? So it's like, so great call out there. Chief Alligator, your thoughts?
No, I already shared them in great build. Chief Blackcoat cleared it up. It's coming through the War Department. That's what sticks out to me. Like, they're tagging everybody who rebelled, everybody who didn't come forward through that amnesty that Andrew Johnson offered to his own. Okay, we didn't get everybody. All right, we're going to create a whole nother bureau. It's almost like the FBI. Look at it like an FBI. That's a bureau. We're going to create a bureau, and we gonna tag y'all. We don't know who you were.
Terrorists.
Thank you. And
domestic terrorists.
Right, and you cleared up what I was thinking and trying to ask. I wanted to ask that question. Yes, this is a bureau. So this is a group of people working right now to make sure who the fuck was that? All right, so working around the clock, 24 hours. This is now a job. They created a whole bureau for this freedmen, for these indentured servants, for whoever rebelled. So thank you, Chief Alligator, for clearing it up for me. I was trying to connect those two dots. Yes, they created a whole job, industry.
Yeah,
man, another
to
system
make sure
for
we
it.
knew who these niggas was. Well, you know, we're talking about Europeans, but yeah.
Great point. Great point. I'll continue to finish off this first paragraph here. And the commissioner and all persons appointed under this act shall, before entering upon their duties, take the oath of office prescribed in an act entitled An Act to Prescribe an Oath of Office and for other purposes. Approved July 2nd, 1862. And the commissioner and the chief clerk shall, before entering upon their duties, give bonds to the treasurer of the United States, the former in the sum of $50,000 and the latter in the sum of $10,000, conditioned for the faithful discharge of their duties respectively, with securities to be approved as sufficient by the Attorney General, which bonds shall be filed in the office of the first comptroller of the Treasury, to be by him put in suit for the benefit of any injured party upon any breach of the conditions thereof. I definitely want to go to you, Chief Alligator, with you having your Treasury experience, kind of break down. Again, we see bond securities. We all know those are forms of money or forms of currency. So I definitely want to have you kind of give us your thoughts on this.
Okay. I would highlight, and the commissioner and all persons appointed under this act shall, before entering upon their duties, take the oath of office prescribed in an act entitled, right there. So they're going to take a charge. Your word is your bond. Your word is the only thing you can give and keep. So that's the first thing that they're going to have these people under this new bureau. We're going to get your word that you're going to go out and you're going to tag these people who rebelled against our government. It was approved July 2nd, 1862, and the commissioner, which the president appointed, and the chief of clerk shall, before entering upon their duties, give bonds to the treasurer of the United States. Again, now we're talking liability. I got to be bonded to go out here and do what I'm about to do, right? Because I'm about to go into what we call now the dirty South, and we're about to go find these people that rebelled against our government, and we're about to tag them and register them under this new bureau called the Freedmen'S Bureau. You with me? The former in the sum of 50,000 and the latter in the sum of 10,000. So 50,000 up front, then later on it'll be 10,000, conditioned for the faithful discharge of their duties respectively. All right, so they're going to be insured to go out there. Basically, they bounty hunting. They get ready to go out there and register these people under the bureau of, under the Freedmen'S Bureau, with securities to be approved as sufficient by the Attorney General. So the Attorney General is going to be over the bonds that the United States Treasury is going to be issuing out, which bonds shall be filed in the office of the first controller of the Treasury. Yeah, so basically this is just an insurance. Basically, they want to insure the clerk and everybody who's about to go out. When you think clerk, just think document, think secretary, right? And so they're going to be organized with it. They're going to tag and they're going to file everybody who is going to be up under this bureau that rebelled, they're going to have documentation. They're going to know who you are. To be by him put in suit for the benefit of any injured party upon any breach of the conditions thereof. So if something happens to one of those clerks or one of those people out there bounty hunting, trying to track those people, they've already been, they've got money set aside to take care of them. That's what I'm taking from that. So what you're seeing is just organized. You're seeing structure. They're taking care of the money part on the back end. So they got the financing already done. They got the trackers, if you will, that's going to go out there, and I'll let Chief Blackcoat talk about that. It seems like they're getting ready to do recon in a way. They're getting ready to go find them people that rebel, and we're going to bring you up under this bureau. You hot now, basically. You hot.
Correct. And I was just going to say, I always pose the question, how has this government been able to, do what it has done for as long as it has done it and still be in line and still be here on American soil? It's because of this structure right now, what we're reading. It's because they had a structure, and when you're in order, there is no outside bounds. People can't infiltrate it, and the inside can't infiltrate it because everybody's in line and structured. But we're reading it, so it's amazing to see that some our people can take from, these documents we read on Sunday, being structured, having something written out, and actually following by it, actually executing it, and not having someone say, well, having all of these INUs and stuff. No, this is what we said we're going to do, and then going by. So this is how this government has been able to still proceed over into the current year, 2022. They had their
I must
structure.
say something too about that. I was watching a video a while ago, and it was saying, like, as far as our people, we don't have structure, and that's why we get riots and things like that. Like, riots are just like unstructured emotional outbursts. But if we were to have actual structure to it, we can do a lot more things that are we could do a lot more things that can put us in a correct position, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can somebody expand on that? I feel like I know
No,
what
for
I'm saying,
sure.
but, like,
No, you said it. You said it. I can add an example. If anybody out there that watches our channel familiar with the NFAC, those boys went out there and they never got in trouble. You're walking around as prisoners of war with all black and weaponries, all types of systems. Why didn't they get in trouble? Because we understood, or they understood, the guidelines, the structure. So we just weave through it. Ain't no trouble. Right. So again, it's just going back to understanding how the thing works. I kind of forgot your question, Chip, to keep on, but just back to being structured. There is no issue. There won't be any issues, or I'm not gonna say there won't be any issues, but things get done when things are structured. Pretty much.
I'll help you out, Chief Blackcoat. Chief Akibalon, if you ever get a chance, pull up the image of a sphinx out of Africa. And so what that is you see the royal head sitting on a lion's body. And what that denotes, is lower self and higher self. We all have a lower self and a higher self. Us as a group of people, right, we're operating under lower self because we don't have structure. And so when there's no structure, it's like a kid going to temper tantrum. You just close the door and leave him in the room. You let him tear up the room until he break that Xbox or something important. And then you come in there and say, all right, shut up. And that's kind of how this government did us in 2020. They let us throw a temper tantrum until police departments start getting burned down. Then at some point they were like, all right, send the militia out there, send the military out there. That's enough. But going back to that, when you have structure, now you're operating in your higher self. It eliminates confusion, Chief Akibalon, because the standard is set. So there's no tolerance for mediocrity.
Yeah, I'm not going to meet you at somewhere lower than that standard.
And that's what we see.
It's like working in your max potential.
Correct.
I hear you, Chief. Keep on. What'd you say?
I said it's like just living in your max potential, maximum potential.
Right. And what we do when we go into their system, first thing we start hollering is racism. But then you have to sit back, and once you get in line with their structure, I'm speaking from personal experience as well, you start getting favor, and you start realizing, that's not racism. We're really out of order. And it's not necessarily out of order with their government, it's out of order with natural law. You can't operate in
natural order that we offer.
Yep, you can't operate in your lower self and expect to win. You'll get lucky every now and then, but it won't be consistent.
Shoot, and I think that's just a good stopping point to kind of highlight exactly what we're wanted to show to the people at the end of this meeting here, that structure. We just saw structure within this first paragraph, this first section of this Freedom Bureau. Again, this is March 3rd, 1865. I believe the Amnesty Proclamation, they signed off on it, I want to say May of the same year. So April, May, 60 days, less than 60 days. Okay, they're moving. When you have structure, you have organization, you have a plan, you can move with fluidity. You can get to the
And that's
next
the
step
first
with
thing
it.
that they put in the thing too. It's like they want that to be the number one thing that everybody knows if you're going to be a part of the bureau is the structure.
Correct.
You
Great
need to
point.
know your position.
You need to know this. If we're not even going to move to section 2, 3, 4 until you understand section 1 and your duties, your role. So great point there, Chief Akibalan. And I just want to, again, we'll probably stop there. So section 2, and just highlight the difference between the people who are supposed to be the head of our structure versus the difference of other nations and other organizations, how they maneuver. So again, we'll highlight.
That goes back to other points we said in like past classes of people just like we have the wrong people speaking for us. We don't have like the chiefs and the warriors speaking for us. We have the people that were submissive speaking out of fear at a lot of times or in personal gain. People don't know their roles and what positions that they can be best at. And I think that's where, like we just said in this class, that's where structure comes in.
And these are those people that you just mentioned who don't know their roles, don't know who they are supposed to be. Well, they know who they're supposed to be representing, but they're not doing it. These are those people. These are those people. And we know this because we just read, they were established in 71. We have nothing specific as far as protections, nothing specific as far as resources, nothing at all but a holiday.
Right. I want
a big smoke screen
and a coin. Go ahead, Chief Blackcoat.
Chief Alligator just always reiterate about not having protection up under this government and how you can't go too long without any protection. So as I get older and I understand the politics and I understand all the allotments going out to specific groups, protection isn't just protection meaning, oh, police won't shoot me down the street. Protection means you're protected under this government. Whatever you need, as far as one thing this government likes to do is build too big to fail. That's called protection. So when you have an Asian or Mexican, whatever the hell happens, that government swoops in and protects them. We have a congressional Black Caucus. Our group literally get denied for bank loan. We can't even get bank loans to even get us foot in this door. We can't, home loans, trying to get out the ghetto and get a nicer spot. The loops we have to go through, no protection at all. So for us to even have this Congressional Black Caucus and for them to actually have this website and have this picture, this portrait of themselves, it's a complete slap in our faces, the true American faith, the true Black, that culture that we have inherited, because we're not Black, we're Americans, but that culture we have created, for them to kind of spit in our faces and sit there and make it look pretty. We have no protection up under this government, zero. When it comes, no one's gonna bail us out. I can put it, that's the best way I can put it. No one's gonna bail us out. It's all just, oh, you fell off the cliff. What happened? We don't know. Okay.
You said something there. You said something. Go ahead.
Now, I just wanted to build on that and go back to what Chief Akibalan said when he asked about structure. This is the group that's supposed to write up our agenda or our goals. So we're in 2022 now, and they're about to do a midterm election, right? Notice how there's no plan. None of these members have come out. First of all, you can't have a plan unless you talk to the people.
I was about to say, you gotta say what y'all need.
Exactly. So
Correct.
the representative that's in your area, you're 100% correct, Chief of Keyblind. They're supposed to be holding some type of meeting in a building with the people and say, okay, let's get some points up on the board and let's find out what do we want as a group of people going into this midterm election. We don't get that. What we're getting right now is we're getting dictated to. What these people are doing they are coming up with their own agenda that they think we want, right? And then they throw it at the wall and run it through the media or their propaganda arm to see what we're going to get behind. So it was the For the People Act. Nobody asked for the For the People Act. Everybody wants reparations. Everybody wants to be repaired. Then they threw the George Lewis Act, right? Nobody cared anything about that, right? Now they're talking about appointing people at the Supreme Court. So again, there's no plan. You're about to go through another election cycle with no agenda. And at some point, we have to understand we're operating in lower self as a group. That's why we're losing.
Let me just stop you right there, because you broke it down, and it perfectly is in alignment with what the fuck we seeing on this screen right now. What did we say? Engage in communities. I don't know if these motherfuckers ever pulled up on in Clayco or the city of Atlanta, the cab, Fulton. I don't remember having a CBC saying, hey, we're having a community meeting. We want you all to come out to see what's your top priorities as far as things we need to get accomplished. But these motherfuckers got the audacity to say engage in communities in constructive dialogue. Where?
We would have our bureau.
They definitely don't reply to me on Twitter. So I don't know who groups they're talking to. Again, informing citizens of how they're being impacted by the last president, not this president. So y'all motherfuckers can't even update Trump
That's
administration.
in there. Wow.
We're 2 years into Biden's administration, I thought now.
Didn't Biden just call somebody a son of a bitch? So
wait, what?
Hold on, Chief Black Coat. Don't bring that up because it shows how hypocritical we are. Because Trump called the NFL players' moms sons of bitches, and we're still watching the NFL.
Right. And totally no comparison. The Europeans going to be the European. They're going, whatever theater they want to put on the TV, they're going to do it. I just sit back and watch. But why are they talking about we're going to, inactions in the Congress and the Trump administration, what are impacted?
Where the updates at? Yeah, where the updates at, man? Where the updates
right now?
Let's compare them because we're close.
Okay.
Let's compare them to the Asian. Let's bring up this Asian hate bill.
Oh yeah, we got to.
We want to show, going back to what Chief of Keyblind said, we want to show, let's compare ourselves to another group of people, a group with a plan versus a group without a plan. So Negroes have short-term memories, but a year ago, there was 4 or 5 people killed in Atlanta, Asians in the nail spa. Let's look how much time went by from the day that happened to the bill being passed. We're going to show you what having a goal and being structured gets, how a group of people benefits from that. So this murder happened what date? July 27th.
This is the article. This murder happened on March 16th. Let me go to the actual date because I read it the other day. Long Spa.
So March 16th is when
shooting occurred on March 16th. So right here, shooting occurred on March 16th.
So the anniversary is coming up.
2021, correct. March 16th. I think it even highlighted how many, killing 8 people in the shooting.
Okay.
So 8 people died March 16th. Okay.
Now let's ask ourselves, have we had 8 people die within our group?
More.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Okay, because we're comparing ourselves to the Asians. So 8 of them died. Now, what date did that Asian hate bill come out?
Okay. So again, March 16th was the shootings, the killings. March 16th. Let's take a look here. This is, again, the Asian hate, but they call it COVID-19 hate crimes. Introduced March 23rd.
7 days later.
That's a whole week.
A whole week.
Right. So Chief Akiva, so what we're seeing is as soon as those murders happen, the lawyers, which are politicians under the Asian caucus, they immediately start writing legislation for their people. They went immediately to work. 1 week, they already wrote up a document.
1 week. A month later,
Passed
y'all.
it.
A month later, they already passed it in the Senate. And look at the votes. 94-1. 94-1.
94-1.
A month later.
94-1.
That means 94 yays to 1 nay. A month later after that, it passed in the House.
An anti-lynch bill.
Can't get an anti.
That blows my mind. I still, when I hear
We gonna
that,
come to that.
Like, huh?
We gonna come to that because you said something right there. Can't even get an anti-lynch bill. So let's keep that nugget because we're gonna show exactly what he's referring to.
Because we're not.
But again,
there's no plan. What we're seeing is how you get shit done when you got a plan.
Right. Correct. They play on our ignorance for sure. Even though I feel like our group needs to totally walk away from this government 100%, just completely let that thing crumble. Yeah, they're pretty much playing on our ignorance. We don't know how to get in the cracks when it comes to being structured with this government. And it's not that we don't know how to. It sounds like this government is kind of putting a wall up, so we can only get so far before they hit that. We don't account for you as far as how you think we account for you. So when we have those black politicians that do what they want and try to actually get work done, it feels like they hit a wall. Now it's like, okay, I can't get no further than this. Why not? This government never wasn't set up for you to be actually cared for. You could starve out and die if you wanted.
No, you're right. I'm in total agreement. But this shit just highlights it even more, man, exactly how we're treated underneath this government system. So it passed in the House, 364 votes to 62. Last time I thought that's way over this 2/3 majority.
Right.
If my math is correct. So this was presented. So again, in less than 60 days from the introduction, it was passed in the Senate as well as in the House. A day later, presented to the president. A day later after that, he signed off it and became law. We just saw the structure of how the president had to go to the Senate within the Constitution, get the 2/3 vote, things of that nature, checks and balances. In less than one fiscal quarter, they got all this done. And I think Chief Alligator always brings it up, 100-day plan. We weren't a part of that.
Forecast. Yeah. Now, if you could pull up the George Floyd Act and let's look at that in comparison to the Asian. Now let's look at our caucus and let's see what they did in comparison to the Asians. The Asians blew it out the water. They got what they took care of their people. 8 of them got killed. 60 days later, they got it done. President signed off on it. What happened with the George Floyd Act?
First of all, this shit was introduced fucking February 24th. George Floyd, last time, if my math correct, I thought he passed away in the summertime. I want to say, was it April or May?
May of 2020.
May of 2020, right?
This got proposed.
We just saw the comparison 7 days,
right,
versus damn near 7 months.
Right.
Okay, introduced in 7 months. A week later, basically, we could say, look at the votes. 220 yays to 212 nays. That was a close ass game.
Right.
That's an 8-point advantage, but it's not the 2/3 vote required. And this again was denied on March 3rd of last year. After what Chief Alligator stated, after all of the hell that was supposed to be raised, of all of the protesting and everything, had the world standing at a stop. Got nothing for it.
Does it show what happened to that act this year?
Does it show? I don't.
Well, not this year, last year. Because it shows the date that it passed the House, but then does it show where? Okay, there it is. Latest action on 3/9 received in the Senate. So you have to click on all actions. But what we're showing is you got no power. You don't have any respect. It barely made it out the House. And when you look at the Asians, the bill passed in majority.
Correct.
So you're seeing that people don't, when you don't have structure and you don't have order, there's no reason for people to respect you.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree about the whole no structure, no order, no respect. Our people at a time did get disorganized, pushed west, and actually created something for themselves called Black Wall Street. So when you go through things of those nature, when you actually do get back in line, get back on your feet, do pull your bootstraps back up, someone's gonna cheat to make sure you never want to get in structure at all. So we're at a point where we've taken so many L's to actually think working with our people, working together will move us forward. It's kind of like ironic. It's kind of like not a thing anymore. You know, we're afraid to work with each other. I feel like we're so powerful, us coming together, it automatically do something powerful, right? But this government constantly suppresses that energy, constantly suppresses those ideas. Again, people want to start businesses. That's the American dream. So when you go in there and you ask for this business loan, they like, nah. But then you see this European come in and just get one like that. It's kind of like, damn. So you go home, pity, sad, and that's years of the benign and neglect. So it's like, okay, are my people defeated? Are we at a point of defeat? You know, it's not that we don't want to be it's not that we don't want to be in line, but are we just completely defeated?
We're disorganized.
Today.
We're disorganized. Look at all the activity in comparison to what the Asians got done in less than 60 days. Look at all the begging and pleading that had to take place for this George Floyd Act. They had to do a motion to reconsider, the motion to reconsider. You got why you got to do all of this? And we got way too much. You got to fight too hard to get bare minimum stuff.
And we highlighted how you get shit done. The NFAC highlighted how you get shit done. That was structure, that was showing power, and that was showing not taking no for an answer. We saw that. They hadn't even had a charge for Breonna Taylor prior to NFAC going to Louisville. Hadn't even, shit was just wiped under the rug. They show up, a court date is established within a week. That's the structure. We can be done because what you're saying is like, you know, one person goes to the bank to try to get bank loan, they get denied. Another person another day. Group. That's the thing. We got to come as a collective in everything. It's a team sport. It's a team sport. It's a team sport.
It's a lack of
respect. And then the thing with not having no structure is like, okay, so at when you go to a shoe store, nobody's gonna take somebody who always comes into the shoe store and doesn't buy anything serious. But in the same sense that like you're not buying something and you always are in there, we have to come with something, and that's something that we need to come with the structure, like you just said with the Breonna Taylor thing. Like I just feel like the structure is our currency. I think the structure is everybody's most important currency. Yeah,
because everybody can get along with it.
Right. So what you're doing is you have no respect. If everybody knows you're disorganized and then George Floyd happens, not a black caucus is trying to fight for the people. Everybody else in Congress is looking like, we don't take y'all serious. Like y'all don't take care of y'all people. Like, no.
At all.
Correct.
and it just sucks because that is us now. That is us asking this government that, you know, foreign entity came into our land, did all the damage they did. That is us asking, hey, protect us. Hey, give us a bill. At the end of the day, you know, at the beginning of these classes, we reiterate that we're prisoners of war. We're going to be the laughing stock. We're going to be the clown show until the end of time of this government, the United States. They gave us a quarter and they gave us a Juneteenth.
Correct.
They're telling you, we're going to give you tangibles that can't be used. We're going to give you tangibles or symbolism that everybody can use. So that quarter,
nothing specific still.
Nothing.
It's collectible, like you are. People are collectible at this point.
But that's just to keep us blind to
anti-lynching bill. How many times we'll close with this just to show what Chief Blackcoat just said, that you're a prisoner of war. we're not saying this because we're low self-esteem people or anything like that.
No.
We're just looking at the facts. But look how many times that this government has been asked to protect us with an anti-lynching bill. It's ridiculous.
200 times to pass an
200
anti-lynching. Now, what's so hard? What do you know, United States Congress, Senate, judicial, executive, whoever, what's so hard about passing something saying don't lynch people?
Because we're
That's
prisoners
illegal.
of war. That's it. Why would I protect somebody who is my enemy?
There it is. You know, so I love our class and I love how we break down these documents. But everybody on this channel should know, yeah, we're putting it out there so everybody can become aware. But you're a prisoner of war. You're supposed to be up under rocks, not supposed to be feeding you water through the cracks.
Correct.
We have allowed you to.
I'm going to stop you, Bill Chief Blacko. Chief of Keep
Right.
If we're not prisoners of war, what would you say? We've tried 200 times to get an anti-lynching bill, and our group still can't get an anti-lynching bill. What would you call that if you're not a prisoner of war? 200 times we've tried to say, don't hang us. Are you there?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been listening for somebody else, but I don't know what I would call it. That's if you try it 200 times, that's literally just looking the other way purposefully.
So what would you call that group of people that's getting ignored 200 times? What would you call them? Are they slaves?
Oh, I would call them prisoners because it's like you don't have rights.
And
you're not being treated like a human.
And
it's like a commodity.
And I'm glad we pointed that out. That says Congress has tried. So that's our bodies of work and within that Congress trying 200 times. So we are structured. You keep getting.
Yeah. The Kim May denied.
My phone about to die.
All right, Chief. And just a quick thing about that photo we're actually looking at. I actually been there. That's down there in Birmingham. I don't want to misquote it, but I think it's Birmingham, Alabama, or somewhere. It might be.
Yeah, Montgomery.
Montgomery. I knew it was another one, Montgomery, Alabama. So yeah, I've been out there. Beautiful museum. Of those are just pretty much towers of people that lost their lives due to this government up under slavery and things. But it's a beautiful place. It was freezing cold when I went, but it's still a beautiful place to go visit out there in Montgomery. Black History Museum.
I'm about to screenshot that.
And it's not that far from here. It's probably like an hour and a half.
Yeah, right off I-20.
And it's good you pointed out Congress, because Congress makes the laws under their government. So Congress has seen an anti-lynching bill on our group 200 times.
Forever.
And so, yeah,
200 times. That's crazy.
People, we're not doom and gloom. We're just looking at the facts. What would a group of people have to be if 200 times the body politic that makes the laws under this government has said, no, we're not gonna say you can't lynch this group of people? What else could you be?
Right.
What else could
you be?
Yeah, what else could you be but a prisoner?
It took Asians a week, man. That man went in there and shot 8 people, killed them dead.
Had that bit signed, passed, delivered
and that's because they have a nation
90 days.
Them. Once we get back to our nation, see, all we gotta do is get back to being the Confederate. Then we can. We don't even have to be Confederates no more. You know, we're in the future now. We don't have to be whatever. Yeah, we can always abide by our ancestors' ways of life, but you know, we're here today. You know, gone tomorrow. Whatever. We can do some new shit. But we still just got to get in line. We can't.
Correct.
No Section 8 food stamps, all this begging. You know, I get it, but we definitely have to. We can't ask.
That's what I was gonna say. Just by us asking this stuff in their government, we're out of alignment.
Right. So we have to get rid of that idea of, I'll join the Black Caucus and make change. No, you won't. That's a part of the United States government structure. You're gonna go collect checks, buddy, and watch your people suffer.
It's the same thing of one of us saying, I'm gonna be a police officer and change it from within.
Good job.
What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm gonna be a soldier, I'm gonna be an American soldier and defend my country.
No. Yeah.
And that was me once before. And it's like, defend my country. My country doesn't even defend me.
Exactly.
It's a harsh reality, isn't it? I would just come I like what you said, Chief Blackcoat, but we can't create something new because we're getting karma because we're dishonoring our ancestors. We have to go back to Confederacy because a group of people that don't know their history, they don't know what's owed to them. That's why what we're doing is so important. You gotta know your history because you don't know what was stolen from you.
Correct.
And I agree.
That's all we're doing with this. We're just showing, look at all these industries we created. If we don't do that, then how do we know what to hold this government accountable for?
Right.
And
we gotta go back to our structure because those were created up under our.
Yeah, we got to go back and be in alignment with it.
Yep.
Nah, you right.
Yeah.
There's a battle going on amongst ourselves because we got those that are pumping the African reality. And again, if we're doing history, why am I going to go back 1,000 years when this government's only 245 years old? And my great-great-grandparents were buried in this land. It doesn't make sense.
That's the part that kills me.
Why would I go back 1,000 years when our grandparents predate the existence of this whole government?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, y'all. And again, just one before I guess we close out, they received it on the 9th. And what is our people pushing the For the People Act? So again, benign neglect at its best, and
I love us though.
Difference.
Because we're true warriors, in a sense. We truly are true warriors. Being on Twitter the past weekend, we were hearing a lot of debates between Africans, Jamaicans, people all. I know you probably tapped in.
Yeah.
So hearing that all these other immigrants and foreigners are fleeing their countries due to war and tarnish or whatever you want to call it, for us to still be here in America, still here fighting after all these years of under this government creating this structure on this land, after all these years, for us still not to flee, for us still to be home, it's a special group of people,
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anybody you never heard of a great migration of our people going to another land. So it's, I just want to say that, shout out to our people, staying 10 toes down, not running. We never ran, even if we got pushed by military west, we still didn't say, you know what, we got to leave here. You won't see nobody in Jamaica saying, yeah, I used, my family from America, we moved out here to Jamaica. So I just wanted to shout out our people. We just got work to do mentally and physically, but shout out to us.
Yeah.
We don't run.
We got to take our W's when we can, man. Like you stated, we got to take the W's when we can. So, nah, you right about that.